They said Season 2 was dark. But what's coming in Season 3 is going to make everything before it look like a warm-up. Here's the powerful hook in first section. Hook. They said Season 2 was dark. But what's coming in Season 3 is going to make everything before it look like a warm-up. Section 1. Okay, so the official trailer for Landman Season 3 is finally here, and I have to be honest with you, I was not prepared for what I just watched. I knew this season was going to hit different, but seeing it all laid out in front of you? It's a completely different feeling. Everything that was slowly building in Season 2, all that tension, all those unresolved threads, all those moments where you thought something was about to explode but didn't, it's all coming back, and this time there's no holding back. Trailer doesn't waste a single second. Grabs you from the very first frame and doesn't let go, and by the time it ends, you're sitting there with your jaw on the floor wondering how you're supposed to wait until fall to actually watch this thing. Let's start with Cammy because honestly, her arc in this trailer alone is enough to carry an entire season. When we last saw her, she had fired Tommy, pushed away Nate, lost Galino, and was standing completely alone with nothing but those mysterious documents and a company that was slowly crumbling underneath her feet. And the trailer picks up exactly where that energy left off, except now the walls are closing in faster than ever. You can see it in the way she carries herself. She's not the same woman from Season 1 who was sharp, composed, and always 3 steps ahead. That version of Cammy is gone. What we're seeing now is someone who has been ground down by grief, by stubbornness, by the desperate need to hold on to something that was never really hers to begin with. Monty built in tech, Monty ran in tech, and when Monty died, Cammy didn't inherit a company. She inherited a ticking time bomb. And those documents, the ones with no electronic trail that Nate told her to dig deeper into, they are clearly going to be the spine of her entire storyline this season. Trailer teases just enough to make you realize that whatever Monty was hiding, it was big. Not just business deal big. Not just financial cover-up big. We're talking about the kind of secret that reshapes everything you thought you knew about a person. And for Cammy, someone who built her entire identity around being Monty's wife, around protecting his legacy, around keeping his name alive through that company, finding out the truth about who he really was is going to be absolutely devastating. You can see the moment in the trailer where it starts to hit her. That look on her face isn't just shock. It's the specific kind of pain that comes when the person you loved turns out to be someone you never fully knew. And that's the kind of storytelling that Landman does better than almost any other show on television right now. But here's the thing about Cammy that the trailer makes very clear. Even broken, even isolated, even standing in the middle of a storm with no umbrella, she is not going down without a fight. There's this one moment in the trailer where she's sitting across from someone, we don't know who yet, and the look in her eyes isn't defeat. It's calculation. It's the look of someone who has lost everything and has therefore decided that she has nothing left to lose. And honestly, a Cammy with nothing to lose might be the most dangerous version of this character we've ever seen. Season 1 Cammy was careful. Season 2 Cammy was desperate. Season 3 Cammy looks like she's done playing by the rules altogether. And I cannot wait to watch that unfold because if the trailer is any indication, the choices she makes this season are going to have consequences that ripple out far beyond just her and tech. Now, the company itself, tech, is clearly in freefall. Without Tommy studying things behind the scenes, without Galino's loyalty and network, and without Nate keeping the financial side honest, the whole structure is starting to crack. Trailer shows glimpses of boardroom tension, of people who were once allies now positioning themselves to take whatever they can before the whole thing collapses. And that's the reality of the oil business, isn't it? The moment people sense weakness, the moment they think the person at the top is distracted or vulnerable, they don't rally around them. They start circling. They start calculating what they can grab on the way out. And Cammy, who is already dealing with the emotional weight of those documents and the psychological fallout of being completely alone, is going to have to fight on every single front at once. Business, personal, emotional, and possibly even legal. Because something tells me those hidden documents aren't just going to shake her world privately. Whatever's in them has the potential to blow up publicly in a way that nobody is going to be able to contain. Now let's talk about Tommy, because the trailer makes it very clear that while Cammy's world is collapsing inward, Tommy's world is expanding outward, but not in a safe direction. Not even close. When we left him at the end of Season 2, he had just pulled off one of the most impressive comebacks we've seen on this show. Fired, cut off, written out of everything he spent years building, and within what felt like no time at all, he walked into a meeting with Galino, pitched CTT from scratch with nothing but confidence and nerve, and walked out with millions of dollars in investment money. Like, that scene alone tells you everything you need to know about who Tommy is as a person. He doesn't crumble. He doesn't sit in a corner and feel sorry for himself. He rebuilds. He recalculates. He finds a new angle and he attacks it with everything he has. And in any other show, that would be the happy ending. Guy gets fired, guy bounces back, guy builds something better. Roll credits. But this is Landman. And the trailer is making it very, very clear that the deal Tommy made with Galino is not the fresh start it looked like at the end of Season 2. It's a leash. A very expensive, very dangerous leash. Because here's the thing about men like Galino that this show has always understood better than most. They don't invest in people out of admiration. They don't hand over millions of dollars because they believe in your vision. They do it because they see an opportunity to own you, to put you in a position where you owe them something so significant that walking away becomes impossible. And Tommy, as smart as he is, as experienced as he is in this industry, walked right into that. Not because he was naive, but because he had no other option. And Galino knew that. He waited until Tommy had nothing left and then offered him everything, and now Tommy has to deliver. Not just decent results. Not just a solid first year. Galino wants exactly what he wants, exactly when he wants it, and the trailer shows us glimpses of just how uncomfortable that pressure is starting to get. There's this moment in the trailer where Tommy is clearly in over his head, not professionally but politically. The kind of situation where the business decisions stop being about oil and drilling and exploration and start being about loyalty and power and who you're willing to hurt to keep the people above you satisfied. And that's the version of Tommy that Season 3 seems determined to explore. We've seen him as the guy who keeps everything together. We've seen him as the loyal soldier who does the dirty work so that people above him can keep their hands clean. But now he's the one at the top, or at least closer to the top than he's ever been, and the view from up there is a lot more complicated and a lot more terrifying than it looked from below. 'Cause when you're the one running things, you're also the one who takes the fall when things go wrong. And with Galino holding the money and holding the leverage, things going wrong is not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. And then there's Cooper, and honestly, the Cooper storyline in this trailer might be the thread that pulls the entire season into its darkest territory. What happened at the end of Season 2 with Cooper was one of those moments where the show made you feel genuinely conflicted. He was protecting Ariana. The situation escalated in a way that nobody planned for. The man technically died of a heart attack. And in isolation, in a vacuum, you could almost convince yourself that it wasn't Cooper's fault. Almost. But the trailer is making it very clear that the people connected to that man are not interested in context. They're not interested in what technically happened or what the medical examiner's report says. They are interested in the fact that their person is dead and somebody is going to answer for that. And Cooper, young, newly stepping into a leadership role at CTT, building something real for the first time in his life, is about to have that entire future threatened by one night that he can't take back. What makes this storyline so compelling, and the trailer teases this beautifully, is the way it's going to force Tommy into an impossible position. 'Cause Tommy being Tommy, the moment anyone comes for his son, everything else becomes secondary. Company, the deal with Galino, the politics, the pressure, all of it gets pushed to the back of the line because his kid is in danger. And that's when Tommy becomes truly unpredictable. When it's business, he's calculating and strategic and patient. But when it's family, and specifically when it's Cooper, that calculation goes out the window and something rawer and more dangerous takes over. Trailer hints at this shift, and it is genuinely chilling to watch. 'Cause you realize that the version of Tommy who is willing to do absolutely anything to protect his son is a version that even the people closest to him don't fully know yet. Season 3 is about to introduce us to that Tommy. And I don't think anyone, including Galeno, is going to be ready for him. Now let's talk about Nate, because the trailer gives him some seriously heavy moments, and I think a lot of people are going to underestimate just how central his storyline is going to be this season. Nate has always been one of those characters who operates in the background, the guy who keeps the numbers clean, who knows where every dollar goes and where every body is buried, metaphorically speaking, at least for now. He's been the quiet one, the steady one, the one who doesn't make dramatic speeches or bold power moves but who somehow always ends up being the most important person in the room. And Season 2 showed us a version of Nate who was being pulled in two directions at once. Cammy on one side, Tommy on the other, and his own conscience somewhere in the middle trying to figure out which way to go. When Cammy offered him Tommy's job after firing him, Nate didn't even hesitate. He turned her down without blinking. And that moment told you everything about where his loyalty lives. But it also told you something else. Told you that Nate is someone who makes decisions based on principle, not convenience. And in the world of Landman, that is either your greatest strength or the thing that gets you killed. Trailer suggests that Season 3 is going to test that principle in ways that Nate has never faced before. Because now that he's officially in Tommy's corner, officially part of CTT, officially the person running the financial side of a company that is funded by one of the most dangerous men in the industry, the clean lines that Nate has always drawn around himself are going to get very blurry very fast. Money that comes from Galeno doesn't come clean. Comes with history, with conditions, with strings attached that aren't written in any contract but are absolutely real and absolutely binding. And Nate, who built his entire professional identity around being the honest numbers guy, is going to have to decide how much of that identity he's willing to compromise to keep CTT alive and to keep Tommy protected. Trailer has this moment with Nate where he's looking at something, documents or figures or both, and the expression on his face is not the calm, composed Nate we're used to. It's the face of someone who has just seen something that changes the math on everything. And knowing what we know about where CTT's money is coming from, that moment is genuinely unsettling.